Headbangers, how are you? I'm super. Thanks for asking. In fact, I'm way super today because not only do I have my bro Shaggy here on the Zoom, but
Hey,
look from Judas Priest, Richie Faulkner, bro. How the hell are you?
Mike and Shaggy, doing well, man. Looking forward to coming down and seeing you headbangers down there.
we would love for you to see some scenic views of Idaho Falls. It's a great city.
When was the last time we were there? I think we were there a couple of years back.
From my understanding, I've lived here for about 8 years, and I've heard legends of Judas Priest coming and rocking a venue around here, I don't know, maybe 10 plus years ago. So
Might
it's
have
been a
been.
while. Been a while.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it's been a while, but it's going to be a Saturday night this time, so it should be fun, man.
Oh, exactly. We
Yeah.
got a brand spanking new venue for you guys to blow the
I
roof
heard
off.
about that. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Was it 2021? It was built, wasn't it?
Yeah, or even sooner than that. It's only been open for going on 2 years now.
Okay,
Yeah, so
fantastic.
Mountain America Center, October 5th, Judas Priest coming to rock the house with Sabaton.
Should be great, man. We're having a good run so far. It's good to be back over this side of the pond. You know, we've just done a summer in Europe, so it's good to be back over here. So we're looking forward to coming down and hanging with you guys.
Oh yeah, and plus I got it. We're gonna get to it. Elegant weapons as well. Got to talk to you about that. But first and foremost, I got to tell you. So I've known your lovely chica Mariah since she's been like 8 years old, and to see her now have a kid, see the kid grow, and all this, bro, I'm feeling super old now, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's great. You know, they were just out in Louisville, Kentucky. They both came out for a few days. And it's always a trip to look out and see the little one down there with a leather jacket on. And, you
It's
know, she's like the next generation. She loves it, man. She loves she loves the music. She loves the crew. She loves the band. And she's 4 now. So she's really getting into her heavy metal.
See, you're making me feel old, but she's so damn cute. Now I do got to ask you, can you say Mariah's actual name? Have you been able to say that yet?
It's Kikilani Palama.
You got it. Yes.
Impressive.
Well, I should
And
have it
then,
by now, shouldn't I?
well, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping for that. And then the
Mhm.
other question is, are you allowed to call her baby Chubbs, or is that only reserved for George?
That's George's thing. So, you know, I'll let him take that one.
Now, in Idaho Falls, the Mighty Priest, as y'all are known, are going to take over the Mountain America Center on Saturday, October 5th. Also, I'm in Phoenix, so my show broadcasts out of there in Idaho Falls, where Shaggy is, but I'm located here in Phoenix. So I got a chance to see you. I got the chance to see you twice. You'll be at the Arizona Financial Theater on Saturday, October 18th, as you guys support the Invincible Shield Tour, which that album got really rave reviews. You guys have just been kicking ass.
Well, thank you. I mean, you know, we put everything into a new album, you know, 1,000%. And hopefully it connects. You know, you never know how an album's going to go down with the fans and stuff. You do your best, you put down 1,000% and let it go onto the world. Unfortunately, it seems to have connected like Firepower did. So we're very grateful for that.
Oh, dude, totally. Well, I'll tell you what. So it was 1982, and my best bro at the time, Brian Trinchek, he brought over Screaming for Vengeance on tape, right? We're in the basement there in Idaho Falls because I did live there. And he cranks up Screaming for Vengeance, and the Hellion kicks in into Electric Eye. And, it was all over after that. I was a huge fan. And it was in Idaho Falls. I traveled down to Salt Lake City in 1986 to see the Turbo Tour with another favorite of mine, Raven. And so that was my first time ever seeing the Priest was in 1986 in Salt Lake City. And oh my God, dude, what a great show that was.
Yeah, I think the Hellion Electric Eye, the Hellion is arguably the best intro in heavy metal. Fight me.
I think so.
You
I
know,
think so. I mean, dude, it just, and that's honestly, Screaming for Vengeance is probably one of the best albums ever, from top to bottom, side to side, backwards, forwards, whatever.
for sure. We have a moment in the set where Rob, you know, he talks a little bit about the band's 50-year career, the fans that have been there from day one, and the albums that, you know, the band have created. And when he mentions that one, there's always a massive roar from the crowd. It's definitely a fan favorite.
Now, fans that have been there from day one, you're just now releasing, which, of course, I don't even know if you were born at the time, but Rockarola, the remixed, remastered version is coming out. What are your thoughts on that one?
You know, we talk to different people. Some people are for it. Some people liked it as it was, you know. But for the ones that I think it was important for the band to get that album out the way that more of the way they intended to have
Oh
it
yeah.
sound, you know. But there's a lot of people out there that love their album as it was, and a lot of people are loving the new one. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be two different opinions on it. I think it sounds great. I think Tom Allen did a great job, and it's good to see the album be put out in the way that the band envisaged. So that's a great thing.
Well, Tom Allen was such a great producer. He put together one of my favorite Y&T albums, In Rock We Trust. He put his touch on that, and boy, you can just tell.
Yeah, Tom's obviously great producer. He's got a great ear. He loves Priest. You know, he always used to say when we were doing some of the Firepower sessions that he loves Priest. So I think that really comes over in his mixes and in the work that he does for us.
I think that would definitely help. All right, I told you how I got into Priest. How did you get into Priest, and then how did you get into Priest?
I was, you know, a young man once gigging around London and England in a rock covers band, you know, and
Okay.
you've got to know Sabbath, you've got to know Purple, and you've got to know Priest, you know, and so we played stuff like Hellbent for Leather, Breaking the Law, Another Thing Coming, stuff like that. So that was my kind of introduction to playing Priest. But I think initially it was the Painkiller record when that came out. I was early teens when I heard it, so I was very impressionable, looking for heavy music, and that kind of was perfect for me at that time. And then you go back through the catalog. You know, you go from Painkiller backwards. You know, Ram It Down, Turbo, Defenders, Screaming. You know, you go backwards through the catalog. So that was like a treasure trove of great music, but being turned onto it from the Painkiller record for sure.
Another killer one, and I don't think there's really a Judas Priest record that sucks per se. There's some that are better than others. Another one of my favorites is Defenders. I love that album.
Yeah, it's got a great. It's my favorite record by the band.
All right.
I don't know. It's one of those things that takes you to another place somehow. You know, music does that. It kind of takes you away somewhere. And I don't know if that's because of when I heard it or what I was doing when I heard it, but it just takes my mind to a different place when I hear that record. I love the songs. You know, Eat Me Alive, Free Will Burning, Night Comes Down, The Sentinel. I mean, it's such a fantastic album.
So, okay, you got into Priest. Now, how did you get into Priest? Like the gig? How did you get that?
Well, it was a friend of a friend that initially recommended me. Pete Friesen was the guitar player in Alice Cooper's band.
Yeah.
And we played with him. I played with him in the covers band that I mentioned before. So they called Pete. A couple of our crew in Priest knew Pete from a band called The Almighty. So they called
Oh.
Pete and they said, Priest are looking, can we connect you? So, but he respectfully declined. I think he had other things going on at the time. I think he had a baby at the time. And he put my name forward, and the rest is history.
Now I can tell you right now, I swear to you, I have played the Almighty on my show, my Gobby's Headbangers. I cover every aspect I possibly can on my show, and we're going to get to Elegant Weapons. But one last question: if you hadn't got the Judas Priest gig, what would your dream gig what would that have been?
I mean, Alice is a great one. Alice Cooper was a great gig. We opened for Alice when I was in another band in 2006, and it was just a masterclass in songs, and the band were on fire, and Alice was great. The whole show, the whole production was just a masterclass really on how to do it. So Alice would be a good one. Who else? No, I think Alice would be the one I would choose. It's such a diverse collection of great songs, great guitar playing throughout the years, and I'd say Alice Cooper for sure.
Now, at the top of the interview, I mentioned, knowing Mariah Lynch forever. I've known George since 1997. I've met so many people through him. One of them being Alice's current bass player, Chuck Garrick. Chuck actually played in a version of Lynch Mob back, I think, in 2001 for like a minute. And then that's when Alice snatched him up, and Sean McNabb took over.
Yeah, Chuck's been in the band a long while now. He's a good friend, Chuck. He's been in the band a long time. It'll be strange to see the band without Chuck. He's such an integral part of that band now, you know. But they all are. All the guitar players, Ryan Roxy, you've got Nida Strauss, Tommy Henriksen. They're great guitar players, and they work really well together. They're great people. Glenn Sobor on drums, just a fantastic band, just a masterclass. As I said before, when I saw them back in 2006, obviously prior to that, they were a masterclass, and to this day, they're a masterclass. So love all of them.
Oh yeah, every time he puts together a band, I mean, like one of my favorite versions way back in the day was Vinnie Moore and Steph Burns on guitar.
Yeah, Vinnie Moore was and is a monster. He was playing with UFO, I think, until they called it a day. Just a great guitar
Yeah,
player. Obviously, a shredder, comes from the shred school, but a great feel and a great person to take Schenker's spot in UFO, I thought.
yeah. Another good friend of mine that played with him way back in the day is one of my favorite drummers ever, Ken Mary.
I can't say that I know him. I know his name. I don't think I've met him.
Okay,
I can't say I know him that well.
super nice guy and a great drummer. Shaggy, it's your turn. How did you get into Judas Priest? Shaggy, by the way, was born like 20 years too late, Richie. He is into all the stuff I grew up with in the 80s. And what are you, like 28 years old?
I turned 32
Oh
last
my God.
so,
So, okay, 4 years
close,
ago, I
close,
knew
Mike.
you.
I got into Judas Priest. Obviously, my dad, played Judas Priest, in his truck and stuff growing up. He actually saw Priest on the Screaming for Vengeance tour back in
Oh,
the day. But I
Fantastic.
remember when I was and so I always had Judas Priest there, but I really got into him probably my freshman year of high school. I worked at Van Shoes in the mall. That was my first job. And after my
ah,
first paycheck, then I'm like, what am I going to buy? And this is a true story. I went to Walmart back when they had like an actual CD section, and I found the remastered versions of Screaming for Vengeance and British Steel, and I snagged them both up, and I kept them in my car to this day.
Two
well,
essential albums, I'd say.
yes,
But
For sure.
yes.
it's amazing, both in the States and Europe, where we've just come from. We're talking about different generations here. I think in Europe, it always surprises me how young the audiences are in Europe. I mean, you get 10-year-olds, I mean, I'm guessing, but they look 10 or 11 years old. They're there with mum or dad. And sometimes you get three generations. The band's been out around for so long now, and they've touched everyone. So, we've all been kind of affected by Priest music in some way or another. And now it's another generation and another generation and another generation. Every time we come back, every time we do another tour, wherever it is, there's always young kids there seeing Priest for the first time. So it's multi-generational, and it's going to go on obviously longer than any of us are around. It's going to outlive us all, and that's the power of music.
You've got one of them in her little leather jacket, Richie.
That's right. That's right.
Which is funny. I also have a 4-year-old girl, and she rocks the leather jacket as well. Actually, her favorite song right now is "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter" by Iron Maiden.
Oh, there you go.
That's great stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's always, you can show when you're coming up with a different song. You've got a new song idea. You can show it to the little ones, and they'll tell you straight away that's good or that's not good
Yeah.
at all. Like, what is this rubbish? But they'll tell you when they like it, and it's kind of, they don't think too much about it. If they like something, they respond right away in a positive way. So then you've got something good.
Okay, Richie, watch out. There's going to be a name drop. A name's going to drop right now. So, yesterday I was online. I was reading David Ellefson. Whenever this band comes to town, he's got to go see him. And guess who it was? Judas Priest. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but 2 years ago, so David Ellefson, very good friend of mine, a couple of mutual friends, we took him down to Tucson to see Judas Priest with Queensryche. And I know he went backstage because we got separated for a minute. But yeah, David Ellefson loves Judas Priest.
Yeah, I remember that. David's a great guy. Love David. So yeah, I remember him coming down. It's always, I know how he feels. I'm a fan of the band, obviously long before I joined, so I know how influential Priest are.
Oh,
Uh, and on musicians as well. How can you not be influenced by a band like that if you're playing heavy music? And David's part of that kind of legacy. And it was great to see him, great to hang. It's always good to catch up with him. He always looks well. So yeah, maybe we'll see him on this run sometime.
I'm not sure if he's in town. I got to reconnect with him. We do tacos, sushi, and I take him shooting at the Scottsdale Gun Club. So we're shooting machine guns and stuff, Richie. So if you ever come here and you got some time and you want to shoot some machine guns, I got your hookup.
I'll definitely
Speaking
bet that
of
in mind,
which,
man.
here's your segue. Speaking of guns, how about Elegant Weapons? Bro, let me tell you, this is one of the best releases I've heard in a long time. And I'm not even kidding that. Shaggy can tell you. when it first came out, I was like, dude, we got to play this. So I think on the show, my show, I played Horns for a Halo and Blind Leading the Blind. Dude, it's so good. I'm not even kidding. It's such a good record.
I appreciate that, man. You know, again, you put 1,000% in, and you're never
Yeah.
sure how it's going to connect when you let it go. But you can't, you know, you just got to do what you do. And I think it was enough of a departure from Priest to be its own animal. But I think
Oh,
you can hear the DNA in there. But obviously, it's not. I'm not riding with Rob and Glenn. It was a different riding scenario. So of course, it's going to sound different. It's not going to be coloured by those guys. It's going to be a different sort of thing. So I was confident that it was going to sound different enough. But also, you can hear the lineage, I think, and that's from all of us in the band. So that's what we wanted to achieve, and we'll look forward to doing the second record.
I am too, because dude, it's so catchy, the riffs and everything. And I call me crazy, but that first song, Dead Man Walking, when it kicks in, that intro, the guitar intro reminds me a little bit of Lynch. And then obviously you've got Shanker influences with like your phrasing and your note choices and stuff. They're so tasty and perfect. And of course you did the UFO Lights Out cover. And I have a feature on my show called Killer Covers that we feature killer covers, and that's one of them right there. You did justice to Lights Out. Shanker, one of my favorite guitar players.
Oh, he's phenomenal. You know, you can never match the genius of Schenker. But if you're going to do a cover, obviously we've got Ronnie Romero in the band, who sang with Schenker for a while, and it just made sense really for the flow of the album. We messed around with a couple of covers, and that one seemed to be the right choice, so we went with that one, and it came out really well.
Not only do I hear influences, but you got a killer style on your own. And I mentioned maybe a little bit of Lynch in there, the Shanker. Who else influenced you?
Well, Schenker's a massive one.
Yeah.
Zach Wilde, Dave Murray from Iron Maiden, Hendrix, Randy Rose. There's so many of them, really. Obviously, Glenn and KK can't not be influenced when you're playing those songs every night and those solos every night. You can't help but be influenced directly by those songs and by those solos. So it kind of infiltrates and comes out in other ways. So they're the main ones, really. I'd say Schenker's a big one, but that group I told you, I can definitely hear them in there.
Oh,
Did
for
you ever
sure.
get into Gary Moore?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the Thin Lizzy version of Gary Moore, Black
Yes.
Rose and stuff like that is one of my favorite records of all time. Phenomenal player, just like a fireball, like in both Lizzy and on his own. Great
Yeah.
songwriter, great player, great sound, great tone, and just a great guy to learn from. When you're coming up as a young kid learning all this stuff. I mean, put on Black Rose and learn that, and you're pretty much done. That's just like the blueprint of rock guitar right there.
Exactly.
Well, I'll get you hooked if you're interested. I'll get you hooked up with a 1987 FM broadcast of the Wild Frontier Tour when he played Tucson, and it's an amazing recording. I'll get you hooked up through Mariah. But I know Shaggy's got a question for you. We're going to talk about gear now.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. And Richie, I know our time is just about up here, but I did want to ask you before we let you go. I'm a big guitar player, obviously not on your level, but I was not a fan of Flying V's at all until I saw your signature model. That thing is the most beautiful Flying V I have ever seen in my life. The Pelham Blue one that just came out, probably around a year ago now. I would have purchased one. It was a little bit out of my price range, but what goes into, getting with Gibson and coming up with a signature model?
Well, I've got a long-standing relationship with Gibson. I've been friends with those guys for a long time now, and it was really it was their suggestion. We had an Epiphone version out, I think in 2017,
Yeah.
something like that, and it was the next level of that. So they suggested a different color, and more of a truthful recreation than the Epiphone was. More of a would you call it, like it was a custom shop version, so it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
higher class of instrument. And it took a few prototypes to get right, but we got it right, and I was really happy with it. I mean, that's the guitar that I play every night. That's the number one Flying V. There's a blue one, there's a black one, and there's an Explorer. There's only three guitars that I use out there, so they have to pass the test. So, and it did, and it's a fantastic guitar, and hopefully we'll do another one in the future sometime.
Oh, I sure hope so. But yeah, that thing's beautiful. I mean, the custom inlay on the 12th fret, the if you actually bought it from Gibson, I know it came with like a pair of sunglasses and a goodie bag full of all sorts of stuff. So very cool. But if you go on Gibson's website right now, it's actually sold out, unavailable. So is there
Oh,
another one, another release coming up in the future?
Nothing planned at the moment. But if you know, if those guys, obviously they know their market, they know, what, obviously what they want to do. Excuse me. If they ever call me up and say they want to do something else, I'm playing a custom Explorer at the moment, so
Mhm.
maybe they want to do something with that. But it's up to them. If they don't, I'll always play Gibson no matter what. You know, they're even if I didn't have a relationship with Gibson, I'd play those guitars anyway. If you know what I mean, they're guitars that I love. They do the job. But if we ever do another one, we'll let you guys know. I'll let you know first this time.
Oh, please do. I would appreciate that. Once again, Judas Priest this Saturday, Mountain America Center. Select tickets are still available. You can get them at Ticketmaster or on our website, pickidaho.com, right there under the concerts calendar. Richie, anything else you want to say?
Not really, man. We're looking forward to coming down on Saturday. It should be, Saturday nights are always great fun. It shouldn't be any different in Idaho. So we're looking forward to coming down and seeing you guys and providing you with some Judas Priest style heavy metal. So looking forward to it.
then before you go, Richie, I want to pick your brain real quick. What, if you had to pick, give us a couple Judas Priest songs that are your favorites, whether it's one you are involved with or a classic one. And then what's your favorite Elegant Weapon song? And we'll play them.
I'd say the Sentinel from
Oh,
Priest
yeah.
off the Defenders of the Faith record. And off the Weapons record, I would say, what's the tough one? I would say, what's the Downfall Rising? How about that one?
All right, Shaggy, making a note of that.
Already noted. Consider it done,
So,
Richie.
so we'll play that. Yeah, thank you so much, man. This is like 4 years in the making. I think I've hit Mariah up so many times, and finally it happened. So thank you so much, and send her my love, of course. And bro, I really hope to meet up with you, whether it's in Idaho Falls or here in Phoenix.
Been a pleasure, guys. You take care. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you,
But yeah.
Richie.
Bye now.